Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the next of my last 5 book reviews. These ones are queer hockey romances and I'm really excited to talk about them because this includes one of my most anticipated books of the year. So if you're unfamiliar with this series that I'm doing now, it is when I take 5 books that have a common related theme of some kind. It could be anything, in this case it's queer hockey romances, and I review the last 5 books that I've read that fit that category. That's because I just tend to read a lot of similar things around roughly the same time, and occasionally then I like to go find more of them. So that's how this series works out. The first book that I'm going to talk about is a novella-length story. It is Free Agent by Robin Covington. I think I ended up with this one as possibly a free book at some point. So this is a queer hockey romance about James, who plays for the NOLA team, and they have just won the cup. The entire story is set around his day with the cup. So all the players get their day with the cup and he is taking it home to DC to share with kids at a local LGBTQI organization that he is affiliated with. He ends up traveling with Etienne, who is his personal trainer, and there's always been kind of this mutual attraction between the two of them. And over the weekend they decide to act on it, and I think James is maybe moving teams or something like that, and so there is a little bit of a long distance relationship that develops from it. It's not a very long book. I think it's only 86 pages long. One of my favorite scenes there is Etienne wearing a rival team jersey, which sparks a little bit of debate between the two of them, so that's always fun. Then I got an e-arc of Pucking Strong by Emily Rath, and I was so excited because I never get approved for Emily Rath e-arcs, like never. This is the first time ever I've been approved for one, and I was so excited because this is Teddy and Henrik's story. Both Teddy and Henrik are characters that we've known through the entire series. Teddy was also an intern around the same time that Rachel was in Pucking Around. He is now a fully qualified physio. He has just been hired by the Jacksonville Rays, and it's partly to fill in a spot while Rachel is on maternity leave. And what we learn is that they had a meeting before Teddy started his internship originally, and that involved Henrik saving his life. Teddy's always been a little bit awkward around Henrik, but at the start of this particular book, Henrik learns that his sister, who he absolutely adores, has been killed in an accident, and his niece is in the hospital. And so Henrik is just in total kind of disarray, and he has to go home and he has to care for his niece, and he is going to fight for guardianship of his niece. And Henrik ends up flying with him. It ends up being a marriage of convenience story as Henrik and Teddy decide to get married, just platonically, in order to prove to the Swedish courts that there is a stable family home that Henrik's niece will be released into the care of, and that despite the fact that Henrik is traveling, she will have someone at home to look after her, especially someone who is as qualified to do that as Teddy, who's also worked with kids in terms of rehab and physio. Of course, this is complicated by the fact that Teddy is very gay, as he declares, and likes Henrik, and Henrik is not really sure of his own sexual identity. And as it turns out, through a lot of discussions, he settles on being demisexual as a label for what he feels. And that figuring out process for him is really interesting because he's quite removed a lot of the time. Like, he holds himself at a distance from everyone, and Teddy is trying to break down some of those walls, even just platonically as friends. The book features baking. It features I think they call it the Wives and Guys Club, which is, headed by Ilmari, which is hilarious. The scene where Teddy gets his WAG jacket is utterly delightful and amazing. Absolutely loved it. If you want to see a picture of the screen, Emily Rath just recently posted one on her Instagram stories of an illustration that she had commissioned. It's great. All of the characters that we know and love are in the story. Like, it's just so fun and enjoyable, and I really liked Teddy and Henrik's dynamic. I just thought it was a really great read. It is long, but it is well worth it, and I love that we spend so much time with Henrik's niece as well, who is just awesome. So I absolutely love that. Like, it totally made my month that I had that, and as soon as I got it, I had to read it. Like, there was no way I was putting it off closer to release. I also really liked that we get a little bit of a hint at the next book, which features the new team goalie, who is an Australian goalie. And if you know anything about me and my love of following the ice hockey here, I love an Australian goalie. Like, I love all our imports. We have a lot of import goalies playing in the Australian Ice Hockey League. My team currently has 3 Aussie goalies and a Canadian goalie who is now a citizen. So we technically have 4 Australian goalies. So I'm just like, an Australian goalie. I love them so much. The weirdos. And then the last 3 books are all from the same series and by the same author. It is the Offside series by JJ Mulder, which I started in actually one of my other last 5 videos. I was doing goalie romances, and I read a book in this follow-up series to this one. So I've gone back to the beginning. I'm reading everything in order now. And the first book is Changing the Game. This is following Troy, who is a pro hockey player. He's a very, very good forward on his team. He's a young guy. He is really fast, and he's just a ball of sunshine. Like nothing gets him down. He's also very openly gay. He hasn't come out to the media or the public, but every team he's been on has known that he's gay. He ends up falling for Sam, who is an intern equipment manager with the team that he's playing with. He ends up completely platonically offering Sam a room to stay at his place because he lives by himself, and they are roommates. It becomes a workplace romance. The two of them are absolutely adorable and sweet, and there is a bi-awakening story in here for Sam, and they're just like the most gorgeous characters, and Sam becomes a really good sounding board for all the other characters in the series, which is really nice. Troy also has really great relationships with everyone on his team, but he's really close with their goalie and their team captain. And the next two books feature both of these characters as one of the protagonists. So in Square to the Puck, we follow the team captain Corwin, who is also fairly young, but is the team captain and is very steady and level-headed and isn't easily ruffled by anything. But they've just had a guy that's been traded to their team, Nigel St. John, who Corwin had an interaction with very early on in his hockey career that didn't go quite well. And since that time, Nigel, who is a bit of a chirpy player, we shall say, and doesn't really process his emotions well, has kind of been taking it out on Nigel on the ice. Anyway, Nigel gets traded to their team, and so suddenly they are forced to play on the same team. And we learn, because we finally have Nigel's perspective, that he is deeply apologetic for what happened in the past. So essentially they were on the same team. Don't think it was a pro hockey team. I think it was just sort of before the pros. Both of them had admitted that they liked men, and they started something they'd been at a bar with the rest of the team, and then they kind of started something in an alleyway just behind the bar, and it didn't quite go to plan. And Nigel thinks that he pressured Corwin, and Corwin is embarrassed by the way that he reacted in the scene. And so since then they have not talked or communicated, because communication, why would we have that? It's an age gap story. I think there's 10 years between the two of them. It is a second chance romance between them as they sort of get back to a place where they talk about what happened that night, how it affected them, and how they feel now. And then this eagerness of them both to kind of try something. But Corwin's not someone who is driven by sex, and so he is, I don't know if he's a virgin or if he's just very inexperienced. I can't remember exactly what it was. He definitely has less experience than Nigel, and he's not comfortable with everything all at one time. And so it's a very slow going, slow burn kind of build up for them to try and see what this relationship is even going to look like. It's not my favorite of the books that I've read so far in the series, but I did still like it. Then the last one that I'm going to talk about is Between the Pipes, which is the third book in the series. And this one follows Lawson, who is the goalie for Corwin and Troy's team. Lawson is the biggest golden retriever, supportive character that you will meet. Like he is there for everyone, but he will also defend all of his friends to the ends of the earth. And he is injured in the second book, and while he is on the IR, he picks up a sort of temporary coaching job with a college hockey team where he's working alongside Nico McKenzie, who is a former AHL player who was really badly injured. And what Lawson doesn't realize is that Nico is technically legally blind. He was pushed into the glass and his visor shattered, and it's affected his vision. So he's basically completely blind in one eye and has partial vision in the other. And Nico is very much the black cat in this situation. He is very grumpy. We know that is because internally he's doing so much work to process being in his environment and staying safe, and also not letting other people see that he has a disability, and that's his choice. Like, that's his choice. He doesn't want people to know, but he's a very good coach. And so Lawson is brought on as just an extra because they're down a coach, and he's working with their goalies and their defensive lines, and he's just so nice that he kind of rubs Nico the wrong way. Lawson kind of doesn't give up on Nico, and he just kind of worms his way into this guy's life as just a friend because he recognizes that Nico probably needs one. And it takes him a while to piece together the fact that Nico does have trouble with his vision, and they start a casual relationship, which really doesn't end up casual. And before this, Lawson's never really considered himself anything other than straight, but he just really enjoys Nico's company. And it is very much the two of them working through a lot of their own issues. And this one does have a third act breakup, but it actually felt like it was a well thought out third act breakup, and with both of these characters kind of needing time and space to process their relationship and how they feel and what they want moving forward. I really enjoyed this one. I thought this one was great. This one ties in most closely to the spin-off series because the book that I've already read, which I've mentally blanked on the title of, but is the first book in the SCU college hockey romance series. It features one of the college players that Lawson is working with. So this is where that ties in. So I think you are supposed to read Offsides book 1, 2, 3, then SCU book 1, and then you go back to, no, I don't think you go back to Offsides. I think you keep reading the SCU and then I think you jump back into Offsides. So I'm just going to keep looking at the author's website to track how I'm going to read the series. But yes, those are the last 5 queer hockey romances that I've read, and they were all delightful, fun times. I really enjoyed them. I will leave a list of all of those books down below, so if you want to find out more information you can. I'd love to know if you've read any of them or if you're planning on picking any of them up, or if you have a recommendation for another really great queer hockey romance, feel free to let me know. If you just want to let me know that you're here but you don't want to leave a comment, any kind of hockey emoji will do. Otherwise, I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.